ladies and gentlemen, me and James, Hungry James, here for game week 22 predictions. Game week 21 was in the books, James. We did not cover ourselves in glory here. I'm just going to get this out of the way.
Sorry.
You can't resist those. We did not cover ourselves in glory last game week. It was not pretty. We got 4 points each. But James, of those like 4 things, 2 of those points, so half of our points tally was off getting 1 correct score right. So we only got 3 correct results each out of the 10, and we got 1 correct score. So not pretty. We'll forget about that. We'll move on. We do know what we're talking about, I promise. But still 1 point in it. I'm on 105. James is on 106, taking us into game week 22. Couple of nice fixtures in here too. But James, we'll start with you. London derby, like every other game. Chelsea versus Fulham. Who have you got?
Oof! I think this fixture was played only recently. If I'm being honest, Fulham came out 2-1 winners. Was it João Felix got sent off in that game? But I have to rock with Chelsea here. Granted that they haven't played well for a long period of time, but the last 2 games, the fact that they got their win against Crystal Palace and then were able to get, to me, a good point at Anfield. But me looking at the game with the chances from Murdoch there, which I'm actually very excited to see. He was very, very nice.
It was impressive, wasn't it?
I see Chelsea going on to win this game. I'm going to say it's going to be narrow. I'm going to say 1-0 Chelsea, Jack.
James, I'm the same, 1-0. I just think, again, Chelsea do seem to be in this phase a little bit at the moment where they are just kind of blagging things. It's not looking particularly pretty, but they're getting by. And again, with all the positivity and excitement around the team at the moment, especially with regards to their recruitment, I just think it's hard for Fulham to deal with, especially being at Stamford Bridge as well. Again, can Mitrovic have one of those days? Can Andres Pereira do something, right? Willian looked kind of lively, of all people, recently as well. So maybe he's found some form from several years back. But yeah, 1-0 Chelsea for me. It's kind of an easy one. Everton, Arsenal, James's team. Again, Everton without Frank Lampard. But again, I don't think there's going to be any sort of new manager bounce here. Arsenal are just a bit of a force at the moment. They're going for it. Okay, there was a loss in the Cup against Manchester City and a pretty motivated Pep Guardiola and Manchester City team. But again, I don't think that's going to knock Arsenal here at all. So I'm going to just say 2-0 Arsenal. No goal threat from Everton. I think another clean sheet for Arsenal. Who have you got, James?
I feel like the worst thing for me, the fact that Son Judge his first game is going to be against Arsenal. I can see that honeymoon period, the crowd being up for it. You know what Everton's like. Just a few chances, a deflected shot, a corner, they'll be going crazy. I can see Everton getting the goal, but this team just keeps on going. It's not a pretty game for Arsenal. I feel like under Frank, I would have felt comfortable. I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal. I like it. Right, James, staying with you. Brighton versus Bournemouth. Another bitter South Coast rivalry.
Oh, damn, sorry. Brighton. Sorry, I was just... again, one team to me has just been so impressive, so on fire. Yes, they've lost their manager, but some of their performances, Jack, has been absolutely stunning. The fact that they've been able to play Liverpool twice and not just beat them, but beat the brakes off them and a number of times. The way they play, it's just overall just a pleasure to watch. Bournemouth, they're able to get a draw in the last game, but Jack, before that, 4 losses in a row. I see Brighton not taking this, but winning this easy. Let's say 3-1 Brighton. I mean, 3 more Brighton. Yeah, sorry, Brighton, not Bournemouth. Brighton.
Nice. James, look, I got it 2-0 Brighton. Again, I think the clean sheet in there, they'll be able to steal. But again, it's just a good performing team. But like I said, it's just one of these weird, is this going to be the new normal? That's always the tricky thing for these teams that perform well. Can you maintain it over the course of 3 years, 4 years, build something sustainable and grow from there? Or do you have kind of a purple patch and then you fade away? It'll be interesting to see, but I think they're in good stead going forward. So yeah, I think Brighton will probably have too much for Bournemouth. 2-0. James, what was your score on that one? Sorry.
3-1.
3-1. I like it. Right. Manchester United, Crystal Palace. Obviously, we remember the game recently with, was it Eze? No, not Eze.
Yeah, Eze,
Oh, it was
Eze
Eze's.
scored the free kick.
Eze's free kick, absolutely wild. And again, what a way to finish that match. Again, do I think Manchester United were like beaten or lost, like because they deserved to like lose that game? Probably not. It's just a piece of individual brilliance, and it happens from time to time. I just don't think there'll be a repeat, especially at Old Trafford. Close game, because I think Palace are that kind of team. They play up or down to the level of competition. But I'm still going to go 2-1 Manchester United in that one. Who have you got, James?
I feel like for some weird reason these games have been quite tough for Crystal Palace this season. Haven't been able to get the same joy that they've got in previous years. And Jack, the one thing I'm going to show you is this. This is all I see is going to happen. I'm going to go for 2-0 Manchester United. Jack, I think this boy at this moment of time, he's playing one of the best football in the world, not just in the Premier League, in the world. That's the standard he's playing at Ballon d'Or level.
Yeah, and you know, I think a lot of it as well. You make your own luck, don't you? I see some stuff where I go, oh, he's gotten kind of lucky there, but again, you create your own luck by being progressive, by being attacking, by taking risks. So, yeah, Marcus Rashford in the form of his life. James, sticking with you. Brentford, similar to Brighton, kind of one of these teams that are just way outperforming things. Southampton, though, another kind of weird team, relegation bound. What's going on there?
It's a tough one, but the one win that Southampton had there was against Everton, and it seemed like every team under going against Everton under Frank Lampard were picking up victories. They haven't seemed to be able to put it together in the league. That just has seemed to be the biggest thing. But the one thing I've noticed from the two games that they played in the Premier League, the home team is taking it quite comfortably in the last two games. So it was 4-1 for Southampton and 3-0 for Brentford. So I see Brentford winning this one comfortably. I'm going to say 3-1 Brentford.
James, I got the exact same score. Again,
Jack, what's going on today?
I know what is happening, seriously, but I just think, look, it's a functioning, good football team against a kind of dysfunctional team that's destined for the drop and really needs to kind of have a self-evaluation, find its identity again, and figure something out going forward in Southampton. Wolves, Liverpool, really weird one. This one, I found this one difficult to pick. I'm going to risk it, though. I am going for the 1-1. I know the draw is always tricky, but James, I think Lopetegui's a great manager. And again, Wolves always sucker punch me because I look at the squad and I go, damn, there's some nice players in here. And then you see actually how they perform and the results, and you think, maybe it's not the same thing. Again, this is not the Liverpool team we're used to seeing. But I just think the Lopetegui factor, there seems to be some positivity growing around Wolves at the moment. And Liverpool, it seems all kind of doom and gloom at the moment. So Liverpool still obviously have a lot of quality. I think they'll be able to get one goal. I can see Wolves holding their own and snagging a draw here. What have you got, James?
I am going to go all the way. I look at Wolves. They did play recently in the FA Cup. Liverpool were able to take that 1-0. It could have been different, but again, Liverpool didn't play their full strength team, but they were still able to get a win. But I don't know, Jack, with this Liverpool team right now, talk about lack of confidence. Like, there's no fairness. Liverpool teams are getting chances at will against them. The style, the formation, just everything that they used to applaud these fair teams are not only able to break through that, but to get chance after chance after chance. Yes, the hardest thing for Wolves right now is being able to convert goals, but I think that they'll be good enough to convert 2 against Liverpool. So I'm going to say 2-1, Jack.
Oof, I respect it. Staying with you, James. Aston Villa versus Leicester. What have you got here?
Tough one. Leicester City hasn't been pretty. You know, all season hasn't been pretty, but a team that's won a Premier League, has won an FA Cup, I think they're bound to have this little dip. We trying to put them in this category that, they should be competing. No, they shouldn't. They've had their moment. You know, it's not sustainable enough to go against these behemoths for a long period of time. So, after fair play to them, as long as they stay in the Premier League, they'll be fine. They'll get their way up again. But in this game against Aston Villa, Unai Emery, the way their team's playing, the way the team's playing right now, it's hard to see anything happening. Hard to see, for me, Leicester taking something from the game. So I'm going to stick to another goals for both teams, but I'm going to say Aston Villa are going to score more. So I'm going to stick with another 2-1, Jack. 2-1 Aston Villa.
James, I got the exact same thing.
Oh, Jack.
Look, we're so what we got? Same scores. We got 1, 2, 3 games so far, we got the exact same scores. That's not too bad, to be fair. But still, look, same reasons as you were saying. I think Leicester do have the odd X factor player who can just pull something out where you go, what? That wasn't planned. There was no tactical sophistication or like a reason why that goal went in. That player's just really good, and they've just kind of gone from there. Aston Villa, again, there is something slowly building there with Unai Emery. And again, Villa is one of those kind of levels of teams which suits Unai Emery down to the ground. He will be able to have that kind of team level of success with this squad and with this group of players. Again, I think the problem is with a coach like Unai Emery, there is a ceiling that you hit your head against eventually. We've experienced that with Arsenal. We've experienced that with PSG. I don't think he's capable of taking that kind of next step. He very much is a Europa League winning coach, not a Champions League winning coach, if you follow me there. But yeah, 2-1 there, James. I think you're probably right. Staying with me. Newcastle United, West Ham United. Kind of an interesting one, this one, to be honest with you, but I am going 1-0 Newcastle. I think West Ham will be tricky to beat. I think Moyes will know how to set them up properly and try and stop everything. Again, you do have decent enough defence there for West Ham, midfielders who go through a lot of work as well. But this Newcastle team will not be conceding a goal against this West Ham team. And in terms of a goal threat, I can just see, I don't know, it's 1-0. Like James, the only other scoreline I thought of was maybe 3-0. Especially if Alexander Isak can get back and start firing, then we're talking about a completely different proposition, in this Newcastle team. Who have you got in this one?
It's hard because the scoreline I have in my head, Jack, is 0-0.
Is it?
I'm going to go for a 0-0. Me looking at their last, Newcastle's last 4 games, Jack, 3 of them have been 0-0s. They're a team that you don't score against, and I look at them, especially in that Fulham game. Yes, they get chances, but it's not like an array of just attacking. They'll come at you. But to me, they've shown that ability, that resilience to stay in games, even when like it looks like, it's not going to be their day today. They have that ability. I will not be surprised if it's a 1-0, but I'm going to stick with the 0-0. Just also to just get away from you, because we've been going on the same one for each one too.
Go for your gut. I respect it. James, staying with you though, Nottingham Forest, Leeds United. Leeds, who've been pretty active in this transfer market. Weston McKennie on board now as well. An American joining the American coach. They're getting a little crop of Yanks over there. Who have you got in that one?
I thought they were going to sign LeBron James next, Jack, the way they were moving.
Tiger Woods suiting up.
But, me looking at both teams, the one thing for me is that as much as we criticize Nottingham Forest from the point of view of, they having all these players in, Jack, slowly but surely you see these players beginning to click. And it's not like they're in and around like the bottom 3, Jack. Yeah, they're still in the relegation fight, which I did put them to go down. But Jack, they've risen from that, and they've shown that with the ability to invest. They're not here to just be here for a year. They want to be here for a long period of time. But as I said, Jack, I like what Leeds have been able to do. I don't see them going there and losing. So I'm going to say, Jack, it's going to be 1-1.
1-1, nice. There's your draw. Yeah, look, draw after a draw, to be fair. 0-0 into a 1-1. Look, I'm going with Leeds 2-1. I just think there's that positivity around Leeds at the moment. I think they've had a really, really nice transfer market in terms of being able to keep certain players, but then also being able to add in the squad in the right way. I feel like they're going to hit form at the right time, and it will just be at the expense of this Forest team. You said you made all of the right noises though around Nottingham Forest. Like, Nottingham Forest, James, eventually it was going to start clicking one way or another. It's taken longer than it probably should have done. They are a decent proposition now, and I forget the guys. Brennan Johnson is a serious player, so I'm hoping to see him progress going forward as well. But again, I just think this Leeds team will have too much. Okay, final game of the week. Tottenham, Manchester City, kind of the blockbuster of the weekend. It's kind of a big one. James, obviously it was a bit of a rough time for Manchester City recently. A couple of results didn't quite go their way, but it feels like they've been able to claw it back ever so slightly with that victory against Arsenal. And James, that Erling Haaland hat-trick as well. Lots of fantasy Premier League captains will be very, very happy with that. Again, the Spurs team, I don't know what's going on with them. It's a tricky game, in my opinion. The João Cancelo thing, I don't know what impact that's going to have on the squad, the dressing room, etc., etc. I'm going to say Man City 2-1. It's me being really boring and really safe. It's kind of the safe option. I don't really have a nuanced opinion about it, but that's what I'm going with. Sorry, everybody.
The one thing I got to look at here is that Tottenham in the last 2 home games have failed to not only win but failed to score in the Premier League, which is wait, did they played Fulham away from home? Yeah, they played Fulham away from home. But the one thing about Tottenham in the last 3 games against City at home, they've won. And they have not conceded, and like they have not conceded a goal. Remember also the game that they played in the Champions League in 2019, they won 1-0 there. So they have a great record against City at home. Spurs haven't, Man City haven't came to the new White Hart Lane and won yet. So that might be something that you can look at here. It feels this sort of game is a type of game that Spurs are willing to get up for and get the job done. And I'm praying that they can get the job done, me being an Arsenal fan and want to pull away from City. The only thing that's going to make me feel a certain type of way is the fact that Tottenham don't want to see Arsenal win the league, so they'll do their best to probably lose the game. But I'm going to go for a Tottenham victory here, and I'm going to say it's going to be 1-0 Tottenham, Jack.
Oh, James, there's some big picks from you here.
That's it. Listen, that
Wolves beating Liverpool, Newcastle drawing with West Ham, Spurs beating Man City. You're crazy, but hey, you're gonna look like a genius. I didn't know
I did that, but let's go for
it. You're gonna look like a genius if this comes off.
I'm gonna get 10 out of 10.
Guys, last week wasn't pretty. We're hoping for better this week, but we've had a few disagreements, few of the same scores actually as well. So that's something to keep an eye on as well, guys. Until next time, when we see you with the Premier League predictions, we'll see you.